Hello and welcome to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. It is June 17th, 2024. You're looking at a live edition. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. You know what, Gabe? You're going to have to let me know when I guess what I'll do is I'll go right on to Facebook. I guess I can look on there and see if we're getting any live reactions, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. Guys, I want to talk about the administrative state. I also want to talk about lawfare and something that you guys may have heard the clip. I'm not even sure that we have the video clip. If not, I didn't ask Gabe to get it, quite frankly. But Steve Bannon was at the Turning Point USA Conference Summit over the weekend. Turning Point becoming a juggernaut. That's Charlie Kirk's organization, becoming a juggernaut when it comes to basically rallying the vote, getting out the vote effort, Turning Point Action, and they're working hard in some of the swing states, 3 in particular. I forget which ones they are, to be honest. I believe one of them is Michigan, in order to try to help Donald Trump get out the vote. They were treated as just pariahs when Ronna McDaniel was in. They're no longer that. I think they've been given a place at the table, and I think it's right to do so. But I want to talk about the administrative state because we are going to. There was some video that emerged of Joe Biden over the weekend, and it was a fundraiser in Hollywood. I know that you guys have seen the video. The video has gone viral. You have former President Barack Obama ushering him off of the stage. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about what's likely happening to the United States and what's happening to our government and why we have a republic if we can keep it. I think listen, and I'll give you some stats. There was an Iowa poll that came out. I'll go through some of that because it looks like Trump is kicking booty in Iowa. That is obviously a microcosm of the country. And it seemed to prove to be true during the primary. But I also want to caution conservatives that remember the Biden administration, the Democrat Party, they have a system. They have a machine. So I'm actually going to be traveling to Washington, D.C. for the Salem News Channel to help cover the debate. But I'm not convinced that the debate is going to happen yet, but if the debate does happen, I do believe that former President Donald Trump needs to take it very seriously. I think he's going to have to hit issues, try to put Biden on the defense without seeming like a jerk, obviously wait his turn to talk. All the left is going to try to do, including CNN, it's going to be 3-on-1 or however many people are going to be there at that debate that are going to try to leverage themselves against Trump. I mean, make no mistake about it. It is the DNC against Trump. That's why they wanted the guilty conviction. They wanted to be able to call him a criminal. You know all of this. But we think that because even if Trump dominates that debate, and I'll be honest with you. I know this sounds crazy. I know Joe Biden can't speak, and we'll show you some video of that because he can't talk. The guy's brain is fried, but you know he's going to be juiced up on cocaine or whatever it is they give him to make sure that he has some energy. And he's going to do everything that he can to get under President Trump's skin, and President Trump is going to have to avoid that, and he's going to have to figure out how to reframe issues when he's called a criminal and so on, etc. He's going to have to constantly use whatever Biden is saying and be able to springboard back to the points that he wants to make. All right, so I want to start off by doing this. And by the way, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. Some of you are watching for the first time on YouTube and Rumble, and we certainly appreciate that. Also on Facebook and Twitter Live. So we certainly appreciate that as well. But basically what I'm concerned about is a growing administrative state. And by an administrative state, what I mean by that, and many of you understand this, I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, I assume that you listen to podcasts like this. But if you're listening to this podcast, I'm looking at, what the Democrat Party seems to be trying to do is they are trying to run the government via these bureaucracies. The elites are in charge. They just kind of manage the bureaucracies, and they get whatever they want done. They get it done, right? The fundamental transformation of America does not include you. All right. So that's very very important to understand. And I want you to understand, again, there's a system. So everybody is looking at the polls, and you're looking at the polls. And as a matter of fact, I'll go through some of these before I even get to the Iowa poll. But when you look at the poll, they look so promising for Donald Trump. But I want to remind you that we're 5 months out. This isn't me being a negative Nelly. This is me saying, listen, our fight for liberty, thank God, does not involve bullets, but it does mean we cannot be lazy. It does mean that we cannot rest on our laurels. So every time I come on here, I'm going to caution you not to do that, because I want to make sure that we win in November. All right. And I believe that we have to win in November to stop the bleeding. Otherwise, I think this country, listen, there's times where I believe that the country has gone through irreparable, damage. But I hope that I'm wrong. I do believe that if maybe we can win in 2024, and I don't just mean the presidential election, but I mean some local elections. I mean the Senate. I mean retain the House, hopefully with some real conservatives in the House. By the way, vote for Bob Good. I'm sorry, I know Trump endorsed somebody else, but that guy has like a 75% conservative rating compared to Bob Good that has like 95 to 98%. I want true conservatives, because when Trump leaves, we're going to need true conservatives in there fighting for us. So I'm always going to go with the person. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care how great they talk. I don't give a flip about any of that stuff. I give a flip about freedom. I give a flip about liberty, and I give a flip about your liberty. I'm saying flip a lot here, Gabe, but I give a flip about your liberty. And so what I'm always going to do is I'm always going to go with the people that have the highest liberty score, and the people that can articulate why they believe what they believe, because those are the people that are going to be the most effective for us going forward, whether you're a MAGA person, American First person, constitutional person, so on, etc. But a republic, if you can keep it. So we'll get into the administrative state. I'll show you this video of Biden that has gone viral. I'm sure you'll be seeing it again. Before I do that, I do want to make mention of one of my sponsors, Priority Gold, because you might need it. All right. Priority Gold, economists warn that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and your 401k account as the stock market braces for impact. With inflation on the rise and global uncertainty looming, it's clear why central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold. In times like this, Proverbs 21:20, I love that, reminds us to preserve what we built. Right now, that wisdom points us toward gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, time to make it a priority. All right. So I'm Carl Jackson, and I urge you to call my friends at Priority Gold to find out how they can help you diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD or visit prioritygold.com/golden. And that way you'll get a free gold info guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage as well. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. Call 1-800-405-GOLD to speak with a gold specialist, or visit prioritygold.com/golden to learn more. That's 1-800-405-GOLD. And guys, remember, when it comes to your investment portfolio, you want a small piece of gold in that portfolio, or a small portion of your portfolio to be gold. You just want to back up what you have. You want to secure what you've got. All right. So again, 1-800-405-GOLD, and that is Priority Gold. All right. So without any further ado, I want to, and we got some more Caitlin Clark video. I know you guys have been hearing about that, Caitlin Clark, and I want to get into that as well. This program is about, I've titled it Joe Biden, Edith Wilson, and what did I say, Gabe? And the administrative state. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about a bunch of bureaucracies that basically have control of we the people, and all you have to do is put in robots like Joe Biden. They don't even have to be good at what they do, because the administrative state will basically cover everything. That's what you've seen with the FBI and the DOJ, right? That's what you've seen with the IRS. That's what you saw with the COVID lockdowns, with the CDC, NIH, NIAID. They all had it on lock. They all knew what to do. They don't care what president comes in. They're running the shop. Even the staffers. I don't trust the staffers in Washington, D.C. And I don't care on which side of the aisle they're on. Some of those fools are there way too long. I don't believe in term limits. I know a lot of people believe in term limits. You'll hear it over and over and over again on the right. Oh, it's time for term limits. No, I don't believe it's time for term limits. I believe it's time for Americans to wake the flip up and make sure that we secure the blessings of our liberty. I'm not saying go crazy. I'm not saying start a war. I'm saying just pay attention and get out and vote. And make sure that you vote for fighters. And when you see they're not fighters, when you see they just talk a good game, they show up on Fox News or they show up here and they show up there. But then when you check their Liberty score and they got a 55, they got a 60, they got a 70, they got a 75, maybe at a 75, you give me, maybe, right? That means they're average. But right now, what I want straight up fighters. I want straight up conservative fighters that understand what's at stake, that understand that we're fighting against commies and we're fighting against an administrative state. What they want to be able to do is move we the people further and further away from the power of the presidency, right? We are the boss, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, no matter who is in the White House, we are the boss. But what the left wants to do in particular is make sure that the presidency is here. You've got these executive branches. They even want to weaken the Supreme Court. That's why they're going after Samuel Alito. That's why they're going after Justice Clarence Thomas. They want to weaken the Supreme Court. They want the Supreme Court to work for them. You know what I'm saying? And then legislatively, what they want to do is just knock you in the teeth. They want to convince you to vote for a bunch of moderates and rhinos. They want to call you extreme if you believe in babies being born. They want to call you extreme if you believe in the rule of law. They want to call you extreme if you believe in free speech. If they want to call you extreme if you believe in keeping more of your own money. They want to call you extreme if you believe in sealing the borders. They want to call you extreme if you believe that our military shouldn't be woke. They want to call you extreme if you believe that we should be energy independent and not just independent, but dominant. They want to call us Russian. They want to say that Trump colluded with Russia when you have dumb behind Joe Biden literally signing orders that he doesn't even understand that he's signing to stop the exportation of liquid LNG. I can't even think of it right now. LNG fuels and fossil fuels. And so the European Union has to get more of that stuff, more of those fuels from Vladimir Putin. So you have essentially Joe Biden that's helping to fund this war against Vladimir Putin and Russia at the same time funding it. It's the dumbest thing ever. And this is where we are. And this is what happens with an administrative state, because it's not about winning anything. It's about controlling everything. It's about controlling you. And that's where we are. I'm growing more and more convinced. That Jill Biden, and I don't know this, I don't have any inside intel, inside information. I'm just a blue collar person like you trying to achieve my American dream, if you will. But I believe that Jill Biden has more to do with Joe Biden's presidency. We all know that she was the one that convinced Joe Biden to run during a period of time where he was a little more lucid, where he could understand. But this guy is slipping further and further and further, and there's no doubt about it in my mind that Jill Biden has some say. I from what I understand, she and Kamala Harris can't stand each other. From what I understand, the Bidens have some beef with the Obamas because the Obamas chose Hillary Clinton. And this is nothing new. This is stuff that I've read that I'm sure you've read before. So who's going to be there to protect her? You saw Jill Biden out on The View making the rounds and all this kind of stuff. You saw Jill Biden talking about how her husband is, he may be old, but he's wise and all. No, he's not wise. And frankly, he's never been wise. Joe Biden has always been known as one of the dumbest senators in the Senate. And I don't say that to be mean. It's just a fact. You can go back and watch videos of this guy. He's never been sharp. And he's always been a racist, as a matter of fact. He's always adored racist, as a matter of fact. Oh, man. Well, oh, good Lord. I'm going to have to find some more stuff on the cut sheet, Gabe, because we need some stuff from Trump from Detroit over the weekend, because that was very powerful. I am so glad that former President Donald Trump is going into places like Detroit in order to you go to places like Detroit. You should go any and everywhere, right? Go any and everywhere and just make your case to the people. Even if they don't vote for you, they're not going to be able to keep calling you a racist, xenophobe, all this kind of nonsense, or they can, but it's not going to fly. Because when you go into Black communities, Latino communities, urban communities, or whatever, and you say, what do you have to lose? Here's what my policies can get you. Don't believe what anybody says. I can't stand how so many on the left try to segregate Americans. Oh, Blacks want this, Latinos want that, whites want. No, we all want the same things. We all want to be able to afford our homes. We are a home. We all want to be able to afford a car. Well, at least those of us that are smart enough to want a car, because not having a car and getting EVs and all, that's all about control. But that's a topic for for another day. But we all want the same things. I don't care what color you are, and you're able to achieve those things in America. For some people, it's going to be harder. There's no doubt about it. But you can't look at other people and say, oh, that guy's a billionaire, that guy's a millionaire. No, what is your American dream? What has God gifted you with, right? What can you accomplish? You can learn new things. You don't have to go to college necessarily. Oh, I got a story on that. You can read. You can read, you can watch YouTube videos now, and you can learn new stuff. Nobody in America has to be held behind by anyone, but regardless of your race. It's just a farce to sit here and pretend as if we're living in 1940. It's absolutely insane. All right, I do want to play this video for you, but before I do want to remind you guys that part of this show is brought to you by MyPillow.com. Mike Lindell, MyPillow.com. You guys know the story. You guys know the deal. He has been canceled by these big box stores. He's been canceled by some of these shopping networks. But guess what? He hasn't been canceled by you. And right now, there's a $25 extravaganza on MyPillow.com. All you have to do is use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. Don't spell it like the communists, all right? I'm not a commie, all right? I spell my name C-A-R-L. I don't spell it with a K, all right? But so they've been a part of this cancel culture, but again, they got this $25 extravaganza. Mike started out with just the My Pillow, and it was just a one product company. But now, thanks to his dedicated employees, they've got hundreds of products. I'm not even sure if you know that, but if you go to mypillow.com, there's special deals available. Again, all you have to do is use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. Go to mypillow.com, promo code Carl, $25 extravaganza. Get the word out, not just of the podcast, but on mypillow.com. All right, so $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use My Pillows, just $25. My Pillow sandals are $25. Their 6-pack of towel sets are $25. Brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. So for the first time ever, the premium My Pillows with all the new Giza fabric, just $25. Orders over $75 will receive free shipping too. Again, all you have to do to take advantage of this offer is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Again, that number, 800-858-0263. Tell them that Carl sent you. And part of the reason why I like supporting My Pillow is because I want American products, and I want American jobs. All right. So without any further ado, real quick, Gabe, let's go ahead and roll this video, por favor, video clip. Actually, before we go to 3, let's start with 4, because this was Barack Obama on stage, former President Barack Obama on stage, sitting with Joe Biden on stage while Joe Biden was speaking gibberish. And you could tell this, listen, whether you like Barack Obama or not, there's an aura about Barack Obama where he just comes off as sometimes cocky, but also presidential. Trump has it too. There's some people that just have the it factor. All right. Former President Barack Obama has it. Joe Biden obviously does not. I want you to just look at him trying to take Joe Biden seriously, but damn well knowing the guy is making no sense. Video clip number 4, por favor.
Guess what? It's growing. The economy's growing. People are doing better. We have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. We have more people. We've had over 15 million people brand new hired into the workforce. You know, my son says we all have we all have various short-term descriptions for your jobs, for what you accomplish. And you should say Joe Jobs.
What? You should say Joe Jobs? Because Joe believes that he actually created jobs. He doesn't know that, listen, a president can't create jobs. A president can create an environment where he creates jobs. And when he creates that environment, he can brag on them. Joe Biden didn't do that. The only jobs that are being created, so to speak, are the jobs that are being restored as a result of COVID lockdowns. All right. And even some of those jobs, a lot of the jobs, actually, many of the jobs that you see with these employment numbers, sadly, are illegal aliens that have come into the country that are taking jobs that Americans should have. So there's a tidbit for you. Let me give you this news. All right. So just because Joe Biden is out of it, and again, we'll show you this other video in just a sec of Joe Biden being carted off the stage by Barack Obama. And I heard, listen, this wasn't even my first thought. I can't even take credit for it. I heard Bethany Mandel on Hugh Hewitt's show this morning, and I was like, oh my goodness, why didn't I think of that? And probably many of you, because I know if you're listening to this podcast, you're brilliant, let's be honest. All right, so I know many of you saw that video too, and you were like, oh snap, this is this is kind of a metaphor being played out right before our eyes. But this is why I encourage conservatives, like I said in my last podcast, don't get too cocky. Let me just read part of this from the New York Post hat tip. How non-citizens, meaning illegals, are getting voter registration forms across the U.S. This is why organizations like Turning Point Action, Heritage Action, all of these organizations are playing a special role this year and a needed role. And the only way that we're going to beat the left, I don't care if you have a dementia patient in the White House, the only way that we're going to be able to defeat the left is to defeat them en masse. We've got to show up at the polls. No holds barred. You got to bring a friend. You got to bring a neighbor. Guys, let me tell you something. You're not going to get everything you want from Trump. You're not going to get everything you want from Republicans, but I will tell you this, they're damn sure better than what exists right now in the White House. And what you have to do is stay involved, and we're going to have to whittle away this deep state so that no one can use the deep state, whether they're Democrat, whether they're Republican, against people like us. But listen to this headline. I'll give you the summary. This from New York Post, how non-citizens, good Lord, can I please not get all the pop-ups, how non-citizens are getting voter registration forms across the U.S. and how Republicans are trying to stop it. Very important piece. So welfare offices and other agencies in 49 U.S. states are providing voter registration forms to illegals in 49 states without requiring proof of citizenship, leading Republicans and conservatives to call for swift federal action to stop the handouts. All right, so this is absolutely insane. This is why I say Democrats will do whatever it takes to win, including cheat. They'll cheat and then say, what? Take me to court. What? What are Republicans are going to do? Not a damn thing. All right. So this is why we have to show up en masse. That should scare the bejeebers out of you. That's why, even though, and I'll read you some of the polls, even from Iowa, which is typically a great, I think, microcosm of what's going on in the country, the Des Moines Register poll there, in a pretty accurate poll. But when you have stuff like this, guys, what they're looking to do, all it's going to take, it doesn't take a lot of people to win a presidential election. Remember, it is the Electoral College that will put one of the candidates over the map. And I know everybody's thinking Joe Biden, just like me, Joe Biden has dementia. They got to get rid of him. I thought they would get rid of him. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was like, man, this fool is out. They're going to get Gavin Newsom. That's who I was thinking. But and then after Gavin Newsom had that debate with Ron DeSantis, the Biden administration slapped him down. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And so did other Democrats. And so I was like, whoa, I mean, who else do they got? Do they want Kamala Harris to have the inside lane? No, that chick is dumb as a box of rocks. So they don't want her to be, in my opinion, president. I think for now they're going all in on Joe. They're just going to go in the straight up administrative state. All right. They're going to stick with Joe because guess what? They can use Joe. They can bring Kamala Harris in later. She'll just be a system person, just like Joe Biden is. Joe Biden thinks he's in charge. Joe Biden may be telling some people what to do, but ultimately they're system presidents and they're going to be a part of the system. They're going to be a part of the bureaucracy, but they get to have a little fun. They get to make money. They get to live the high life. They get to feel important. They get to make some decisions, but ultimately the deep state makes the final decisions. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I just kind of to believe that that's where we are. But when you have headlines like this, non-citizens are getting voter registration forms, and you find out that this is happening in 49 states, this is when I say you can't rest on your laurels. You cannot. All right? You cannot take this election for granted. So every state but Arizona, which recently passed a law what the heck? I'm in Florida. We didn't do that. Which recently passed a law barring the practice on state but not federal forms, gives applicants for either welfare benefits, driver's licenses, or in some cases, mail-in ballots, voter registration forms without demanding proof of citizenship. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Guys, you guys know who Edith Wilson is. I mentioned her in the title. So Edith Wilson was the wife of Woodrow Wilson, the racist president that was in the White House. And during the last several months of his presidency, the guy was basically, I don't know if invalid is the right word, but he wasn't capable of doing anything. And so basically she was making the administrative decisions behind the scenes. I believe this is what's happening with Joe Biden. I do believe that there's a bureaucracy that ultimately makes the decisions, but I do believe that they consult with Joe Biden. I really do believe that. I believe that we will find out one day that lady played a bigger role in Biden's administration than we ever want to believe. And she's no, she's what, a couple fries short of a Happy Meal herself. But I want to go back to this video now, finally play it after talking so much. This is Joe Biden with Barack Obama helping him off the stage. Video clip number 3, por favor, Gabe. Look at this. Watch this. Look at him just standing. Barack Obama getting his accolades. What's up, homie? Hey, come on, folks. They knew. Come on, Joe. Come on. Pulled him by his hand. It was so obvious. And then he's pretending like he's talking to him. Probably not even saying anything. Come on, Joe, I'm taking you back to the back. You know your brain is fried. And he guides him off. Now, Barack Obama came out, and his office came out and said there was nothing to see there. But we all saw it. And I got to tell you, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but Gabe, let's just pretend like, for a sec. If I were a conspiracy theorist, all right, let's just pretend. So if I was a conspiracy theorist, is that not the perfect metaphor of Joe Biden being, what's the word? Joe Biden being hauled off the stage, taken off the stage by Barack Obama? Good God. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I would say Barack Obama just let the left know what needed to happen. It was time for Joe Biden to get off the stage. But they may have waited too long. Now they can still replace Joe Biden, believe it or not. 5 months is a long time. And I do believe, I'm like, man, 5 months is a long time in politics. But then again, I'm like, it's a short time. But if Democrats were to bring somebody in that could energize the vote, I do believe that's doable. I just don't think they'll do it now. But we'll have to wait and see. And if this debate happens next week, if it does occur, maybe the Democrat Party will be looking at Joe Biden to see how he performs and to determine how much longer they can use him. Because ultimately, if they can get him past the finish line, we all know that ultimately Kamala Harris will be the president of the United States. We all know that that's what is going down. They went ahead and pimp slapped Gavin Newsom, and they said, no, not right now, not your time. So anyway, we'll have to find out and see. Gabe, I'm just looking at this. I want to double check to make sure. I want to make sure that I'm sorry, Gabe, to do this to you, but we definitely got to play some of the clips from Donald Trump in Detroit. Trump Benner. Oh, man. Actually, that's a little too long. But let's load up number 6, if you would, Gabe. Just to get that in. I'm not even sure if I'll use it. And also, I'm sorry, guys. I know this is live. I didn't go through my cut sheet, so I'm literally looking at the cut sheet right now. Yes, Gabe is cussing to me in my ear. And just get 7 ready just in case, Gabe. And now I'm just looking for one with Donald Trump. Why can I not get Donald Trump in Detroit? Okay. To cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory. That's a turning point. Here it is. Let me get number 17. Let me get a Detroit community leader says he's still angered by Joe Biden's disgraceful withdrawal from Afghanistan, and then drops an incredible one-liner. But I think it's such a smart move for Donald Trump to go to Detroit. I've been saying for years, everybody's been trying to figure out, man, how do we court the black vote? How do we court the black vote? How do we, by not courting the black vote, just show up. Just show, if you have a kid, or if you have a hard-headed friend, or, somebody that's just stubborn, I'm a stubborn person, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes people will speak, sometimes people will speak life into you. And then you're like, you may not hear it or listen then, you know what I mean? Or you may not listen then, but you've heard it, I should say. And then later it resonates. The word of God does that too. You'll read it and then it's like, what am I reading? Forgive me. But, sometimes you're like, okay, God, what are you saying here? Why am I reading this? And then later something happens and then a scripture will pop into your, this happens. That's why you go to these places, not expecting anything, but just saying, man, I'm here for you. My policies will help you. That's it. And if you choose not to vote for me and act on those policies, then you're going to continue to see what you're seeing in blue neighborhoods. You're going to continue to see the crime. You're going to continue competing against jobs and housing, and your children in classrooms are going to have to compete with illegal aliens. You're going to have to deal with that stuff. But if you vote for me, then that'll be different. What I'm going to do is provide more opportunity, an atmosphere of opportunity where you don't have to worry about this type of stuff. That's what you do. You just, you sell the message kind of, but you unite everybody. Everybody wants the same thing. Just like I started off saying at the beginning of the podcast, everybody wants the same things. But what we're witnessing, you look at Joe Biden and you see that picture of Barack Obama or that video of Barack Obama ushering Joe Biden off the stage. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at that video and I'm like, this is a metaphor. They want to usher this fool off the stage. But guys, again, it doesn't matter which Democrat you vote for. Plop them in. They want an administrative state. It doesn't matter who runs it. Doesn't matter if it's Woodrow Wilson. Doesn't matter if it's Edith Wilson. Doesn't matter if it's Joe Biden. It doesn't matter if it is Jill Biden. Doesn't matter if it's Barack Obama, right? It doesn't matter if it's Gavin Newsom. You built the system, and any Democrat, you can plop them in, plug and play. That's exactly what they're building. The problem is you're not a part of the process anymore. They want to totally eliminate you. The freedom that you have, the power that you feel to be able to go and say, you know what, I want to get this congressman out. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to vote. No, you can give all that stuff up. Be straight up like Cuba. We'll have to give all of that stuff up. All right, let me opine on just a couple things. And but before I do want to share this with you. I got to share this with you. I'm sorry. We cannot do this show without the help of our sponsors. So I want to try to find. All right. Wealth protection research, guys. I want to tell you about wealth protection research because these fools, that's another thing that they want to do. What the left wants to do, they want a society of the have and the have-nots. All right. Have and have-nots. So the middle class, if you're on the left, you're a Democrat. A lot of Democrats don't realize what the left is trying to do, the left in their party, but they want to eliminate the middle class, right? You get rid of the middle class, and then you have a society of elites who will always be down with the bureaucrats, right? Because they want to be in good standing, and then you'll have the poor. That's what you'll have. The middle class has to be totally dissolved, and that's what they want. you have to protect whatever wealth that you're building. That's where wealth protection research comes in. At the very heart of our democracy lies a principle that we hold sacred, that is free speech. It is the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish. Yet in today's digital age, discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being silenced and or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations that are crucial to our financial independence and security. This is where wealth protection research steps in. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech, committed to giving a voice to the silence. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 Election Wealth Protection Report. This free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money. All right. So heading into the 2024 election, it contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it completely free. All you have to do is text the word ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, act now. Text the word ideas to 76626 and claim your free copy of the 2024 Election Protection Report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text ideas to 76626 to claim your free copies. All right, Gabe, I don't even remember which ones I asked you to get up, but I will start with this one. And this is number 17. A Detroit community leader says he's still angered by Joe Biden's disgraceful withdrawal from Afghanistan. See, this is what it's going to take. When I just read you that headline from the New York Post, how in 49 states, non-citizens, meaning illegals, are being provided voter registration forms without requiring proof of citizenship. The executive order to close the border was an absolute hoax. Nothing is happening. The border is still wide open. So, Gabe, let's go ahead and roll it. Number 17, pull forward.
I look at how Joe Biden became the president and allowed Afghanistan to collapse and allowed our soldiers to die it angers me. And we had a president who loved our soldiers, and we need to put our president back in office. And I just want to know, President Trump, please don't allow our soldiers to walk around wearing red high-heel shoes.
Hey, let me tell you something. Don't allow our soldiers to walk around wearing red. The trans movement. I guarantee you President Trump is saying that and like, oh, see, this is what people don't understand. The black community is conservative, but you got to be willing to mention the stuff. You got to be willing to talk about the stuff. You got to be willing to talk about how it impacts them. He knows how it impacts them. He must have been a soldier. He gets it. He understands. Man, I'm telling you, this LGBT stuff is what they're doing to the military, wokeifying the military, cultural Marxism, the trans stuff. It is not sitting well with a lot of people, and not in the black community as well. But you have to go to these places to be able to find out what they feel about the issue. I guarantee you Trump was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to President Trump for going to Detroit. Man, there was another clip. I wish I would have gotten it, but this black guy caught a lot of heat from the black community by saying, listen, Trump came and he came to the hood. Biden didn't come to the hood. Barack Obama didn't come to the hood, but Trump did. There's another one. I won't play it, but I just want to read you the summary on it was number 7. But Donald Trump has a great chance to pill off black voters for the same reason he's pilling off all other kinds of working class Americans. Inflation, cost of living. They think Joe Biden has failed them when it comes to living day to day in this country. So you can talk racism all you want. But guess what? Black people have to buy groceries. Black people have to buy, homes and rent, and black people have to buy gas. All of us do. Right. So that's when the race becomes not so important, or race, skin color becomes not so important. Absolutely astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. So I hope to God that it does happen. But again, you're looking at an administrative state. All right, let me do this. Let me just go through these polls, and I just want to close. I want to have a little fun with Caitlin Clark. I've never been a fan of the WNBA. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm not even going to watch it with Caitlin Clark in it. All right, I'm just not a fan of WNBA. But I'm likely, if I see a game with her on and I'm scrolling, I might turn it on. I've never been willing to do that before. All right, but I will give her, that girl has brought enough attention to make me curious. And I'm not saying I'm the be all and end all. I'm just saying that's what she does for the game. Whether there are people better than her in the game, it doesn't matter. What matters is she's bringing eyeballs to the game. These girls don't appreciate it. All right, I'll get to that in just a sec. But just real quick. So Trump maintains big lead over Biden and RFK Jr. despite felony conviction in an Iowa poll. Now, this poll is pretty important because apparently it's kind of a microcosm of what you typically might see in a national election. So 2 weeks after his conviction on multiple felonies, according to, I don't even know who this is from. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't look up who this was from. All right, I'll find out. Oh, the Des Moines Register. Trump still holds a double-digit lead over Joe Biden. A Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll shows Trump leads Biden 50-32 among likely voters. So not just registered voters, people that are going to show up. That's an 18-point lead. Now, I do have to mention that it's the numbers haven't largely changed since February. Back in February, the numbers were relatively the same, where Trump was up over Biden 48-33%. But what it does show is that there's been consistent decline month over month when it comes to Joe Biden. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who has qualified for the ballot, earns 9%. Another 2% of likely Iowa voters picked Libertarian presidential candidate Chase Oliver. And then you have 3% that say they would vote for someone else. But when it gets closer and closer to the election, typically those people are more than likely are going to check out and they're not going to show up and vote. Or they're going to say, I don't want to vote for the person that's going down in flames. I want to vote for the winner. You know what I'm saying? Or I want to vote for the person that I like, or the party that's closest to my values. So it is likely that if, once you get closer to election day, that some of these people will either flip for Trump or flip for Joe Biden. That's typically how that works because people like voting for a winner. It's as simple as that. But Biden has been on consistent decline. Among Trump supporters, 76% say their minds are made up. Among Biden supporters, you have 81% that say their minds are made up. When it comes to Trump, 24% say they could still be persuaded. When it comes to Joe Biden, 19% say that they could be persuaded. So the sample sizes are small, but the number of supporters of other candidates who aren't locked in is significant, according to the Des Moines Register. Among Kennedy supporters, 82% say they could be persuaded. It's 87% of Oliver's supporters and 60% of those supporting someone else. So that's what I mean. So they have more people that are willing to say, listen, I could be persuaded to leave RFK Jr. So I really think that Trump can make inroads, especially if he would say, you know what they did during COVID, I came out with Operation Warp Speed, but I was duped by fascist Fauci. I was duped by Deborah Birx. I've learned my lesson. We're going to curtail the power of the CDC, NIH, NIAID. As a matter of fact, we're going to perform some amputations when I get back in. And I think he nullifies RFK Jr.'s campaign, in my opinion. But anyway, some very interesting polls. There's a lot of numbers here, so I'm not going to go through it. Maybe I'll break it down a little later. I just didn't have time, to be honest, to go through all of it. And I don't want to sit here live and go through all of this for you. But all of that to say, Trump is doing pretty good. But I go back to that New York Post column and say, listen, wait a minute, be careful, be careful. All right. We can't rest on our laurels. We cannot rest on our laurels. I do want to give you some good news, and then I'll close out with Caitlin Carr. All right. Skilled workers. Skilled workers are in demand. These trade jobs pay the most. All right. So trade jobs in the U.S. are in a renaissance with high demand for skilled workers and waning interest in college among young adults. This is great news, not just because we need skilled workers out there. But I think college and what we've been witnessing in college, you guys, you can't talk like I used to talk to college people, or when, if people went to college, you used to be like, wow, you went to college. Now it's like, so what? I mean, some of these fools come out and they're so doggone dumb. It's insane. It's like, really? I mean, they don't have common sense anymore. So they go in brainiacs, they go in book smart, but they come out, they may be book smart, but they're probably brainwashed by a bunch of lefty communists on the college campus, and they lack common sense. So this gives me hope that, fewer people are going to be brainwashed by these indoctrination camps that are called colleges and universities across the country, and more people are going to get out and not be in debt and earn some great pay. So let me give you some of the jobs that are making great pay. The shortage of workers in the trades has driven up the pay, making positions more attractive and the training a better payoff. This, according to Fox Business, than a 4-year college degree in many instances, using data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Indeed recently reported that the average salary for a trade job in America is about $62,000, but several occupations pay much more, even just starting out. Now, I got to tell you this, $62,000 could be a lot of money depending on where you live, but as long as Joe Biden is in office spending a buttload of money, as long as Congress, even a Republican Congress, is willing to okay Joe Biden spending a buttload of money, then your money isn't going to go as far. This is really important that when Trump gets in, Lord willing, he cuts spending. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. And frankly, if it doesn't, you got to call him out on it. You got to call out your congressman, your congresswoman. We cannot continue to spend the way that we do. All right, if we want to help all people out, if we want to make sure that all people rise economically. So here are the highest paying trade jobs in 2024. This could have been a separate podcast. I may make this one because I think this is so important. We're losing so many skills. Guys, I can't lie to you, man. I buy older cars when I do purchase a car. And when I say old cars, I'm not talking about, 20, 30, 40, 50, you know what I'm saying? But I'll buy a car that's 6, 8, 10 years old. But I buy old school cars. I don't like a lot of the new technology. I like man and machine. I like to feel, you know what I'm saying? I like a stick shift. I wish I don't have a stick shift right now, but I wish I had a stick shift. One day, if I can afford like a stick shift, a sports car or something, or a big 4x4, with a stick shift, I'd do it. I love stick shifts, but I like the feel of man and, and machine. But the cars that I buy are just, automatic transmission, right? Fossil fuel. They're not hybrid. They're not electric, just straight up ICE engines and, and nicer cars, but I buy old cars. And I'm scared that my mechanic will croak. As my mechanic gets older, I'm like, good Lord, I hope if I outlive him, I like buying older cars. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to drive down the road in an EV and some government bureaucrat from the deep state says this fool shouldn't be. He can only drive this much. I don't want that. I don't ever want to live a life like that. This is America. We should be able to go where we want to go. We should be able to say what we want to say within reason, obviously. You know what I'm saying? All right. So an ultrasonographer, I don't even know what an ultrasonographer is, but they make 132. A respiratory therapist, 104,000. Dental hygienist, 99. What do you call that? Man, I forget the word. But let's just bump that up to 100K. Construction manager, 88K. Aircraft mechanic, 82 or 83K. Cable technician, 71K thereabouts. Industrial mechanic, about 70K. Solar installer, about 70K. Real estate appraiser, about 65K. Electrician, about 63K. And guys, I think this might be the bottom end because some of these guys, I know people in some of these industries and they make more than this, frankly. Licensed practice nurse, 59K. Wind turbine technician, I'm not a fan of that industry. That's a total hoax. But 58K. All right. So the shortage of trade workers has led to elevated demand across the economy. Some other elevator and escalator installer, 100K. Who would I never even thought of that, to be honest with you. Electrical power line installer, 86K. Aircraft mechanics technician, 76K. Boiler maker, 73K. Telecommunications installer, 69K. Iron worker, 68K. Pipe fitter, plumber, steam fitter, 67K or 68. Electrician, 68. Wind turbine technician, 65. Millwright, 64. I'm happy to hear this simply because I believe that what's happening is we're starting to see people push back. Nah, I don't want the woke college. Nah, I'm black, but I don't have to vote for the Democrat Party like my parents did. I can do something different. Nah, I don't believe in all this woke nonsense. Nah, I don't believe that dudes can be women and women can be dudes. I don't believe in that. Nah, you know what? The WNBA isn't just a black woman's basketball league. Let's go ahead and play this. Let's play cut number 1. This is Caitlin Clark. Now, again, it's let me just be real. I don't give a flip about the WNBA. But what I don't like is people being treated wrongly for what I consider racism. And I do believe this is racism. I think this goes beyond jealousy. I really do. I do believe that if Caitlin Clark was a black lesbian, she would not be getting the treatment that she's getting. A lot of chicks would be jealous of her. There's no doubt about it. But you got a white chick competing in what's been stereotypically a black game, and you got black chicks that are jealous. You got people that think they're better, and you got the little white liberal chicks in there that want to pretend like they're, virtue signal. We're down with the struggle. They're probably lesbians too, or they're woke one. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we're down with the struggle. They have no morality. They don't have God. They don't, they don't probably hold traditional values, so to speak. So you get this white chick in that's straight, that's that's getting all of this attention, leading score, highest scorer ever in college basketball, both men and women. And the girl is just tearing it up. It sounds like in the WNBA, at least when I read stats, sounds like she's doing amazing. All right. So we'll play this video, but I do, before we go there, I do want to encourage you guys that are listening, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. Please follow us on all things social media at The Carl Jackson Show. That is at The Carl Jackson Show, por favor. Also, we do have t-shirts that are available. 2 more coming out. I was hopeful that it will be this week. It may be next week, but we do have some right now. Love guns, hate tyranny, skin ain't sin, meaning, listen, when I look at a person, I'm going to judge them by the content of the character, not the color of their skin. I'm not saying you don't see skin, but it isn't a factor for me. It's not the thing that I look at first. And it's not the thing that any of us should look at first. I mean, obviously you notice it first, but it's not like, oh, that person's this, so they're this. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. So skin ain't sin. Also, promise. It's Pride Month, but promise over pride. All right. So get your promise t-shirt, carljacksonmerch.itemorder.com. For those of you that are willing to help us out on this podcast, to help us grow with super chats and all that kind of stuff, feel free to make a donation. I'll be honest with you. This stuff is hard for me, but I want to be here, and I want to be here full time because I want to be here with you to fight for this country. I don't want to see this country go bye-bye. I believe this is the greatest country that God has ever given man, and I want to be in a fight to make sure that this country maintains. I don't what these people say, what the left will say about our founders and all. Did you guys see that clip of Biden the other week or last week when he was mocking one of the founders? I believe it was Thomas Jefferson, when basically he was like, the tree of liberty is washed by the blood of patriots and tyrants or something like that, but he said it wrong and he was just like, whatever, like he could be a founding father. I'm like, give me a break, you dumb moron. Anyway, having said that, let's go to this Caitlin Clark video, Gabe, so we can end this thing. Oh, it's number one. I'm sorry. All right, Gabe is trying to be all professional now. Hey, girl, I'll go by the cut sheet. Number one, please. And so, yeah, I can't stand people that try to be perfectionists.
Clark, hammer.
Look at that. Look at that.
3 Sky.
You don't think they're
players
trying to
coming
send a message still?
At the top, the official is pointing to his head here, and I think they're going to.
Now, I know this is good for the sport. I understand it. The more that you have controversy, the more that people might watch. But I think
the foul.
I think over a period of time,
yep, across the head, and they will go to the monitor.
People will get tired of this nonsense.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, she got her. In one clip, it looks like she didn't get her, but on that other one, she clocked her pretty good. She wasn't close to the ball. She wasn't close to the ball. But it's amazing to me that these chicks that can't stand Caitlin Clark instinctively know that they better get their names in the headline with Caitlin Clark so they can feel like somebody. Isn't that amazing? But they want to take her down. All they should do is just be competitive and try to beat her butt on the floor and not be so nasty about it. Anyway, guys, listen, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Again, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. It was a crazy day. So I didn't bring all of the stories that I wanted to bring to you, but I will make sure that I do that next week. But listen, we are going to be podcasting daily this week. We do podcasts Monday through Friday. We're trying lives on Monday. Eventually, we'd like to expand. That is our goal, but we're starting off on Monday. So again, please support the podcast. Please support the sponsors. We certainly appreciate it. I know that dollars don't come easy. All right. So I know that. I know people might listen. I know that dollars don't come easy. So we appreciate any bit of support that you're willing to give. And I know you got so much to give and you got food to buy. So anybody that gives, you're a blessing to us. And I promise you that I will sit here and I will fight for this country. I will fight for you, at least behind this microphone and in whichever way I can organize and hopefully keep you motivated and fighting for this country because we can't lose it. There's no place else to go. There's no place else to go. We can go vacation somewhere and we can have a good time because they've cut out sections where we can feel like we're free, but there's no place else to go where you can be a free American. This is the best place that God has ever created. We got to fight for it. That's our duty. That's our responsibility. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless.